Okay, I was wondering who the father of my baby was.
All right, let's take a look. The Miss Creole DNA test.
I'm not a witch. I'm not a witch.
But you are dressed as one.
They dressed me up like this. And this isn't my nose. It's a false one.
Well, we did do the nose and the hat, but she's a witch.
Off the wagon? I think it's off the wagon. I think it's on the wagon.
Welcome back to At the Station, the show where we dig deep into cultural trends in search of the hidden communities within. Have you felt it? That chill in the air? The presence of the great unknown creeping behind you? This week, we dive back into the world of the occult and continue our path with the tarot. This week, we have a very special guest, but before we get to that, I'm Jay Zarecki. Alongside me is Nate Boris. Let's board this train.
We are on this train, and we are going full speed, I feel.
Yeah, like I just said, we have a very special guest in studio today. We have a professional tarot reader to come and to read our cards.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We are very excited to have her on the show. It's the first time we've kind of gone as far as to get a professional or an expert.
Someone who isn't just in our group of friends.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I am very excited because I have dug tarot for a while, like on the outside, and I've never had the opportunity to actually experience it from anyone who
is knowledgeable.
So I'm very excited to see what she has to say and to see what it's all about and get that real true feeling.
Well, she's on the other line, so
Yeah.
let's go ahead and bring her on, and
we'll check back in with you after she finishes up, and we'll touch base, see how things went. Do you want to introduce yourself? Give your name really quick.
Sure. I go by the name Elubatela, which
Elubatela.
is named after the angel Elubatel, which is an angel that's very special to me. And I do tarot, and I've been doing tarot readings for 20 years. It's been a big part of my life. It's kind of something I grew up with my mother, my older sister, both doing it, and I've just been doing it for a very long time.
Oh, that's crazy. I feel really comfortable talking to you because I was just telling Nate this. You sound and talk a lot like a girl that we were friends with back in early high school. We worked with her for a while, and I don't know, just something about your voice brings us back to her. So that's cool. Yeah.
That might be a sign. It's interesting to me. So you guys are in Chicago or from Chicago, and that's a city that has positive feelings for me. So I took that as a sign that this would be a good podcast.
You said positive feelings, Chicago?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not from there, but there's something about that city I always find to be, really positive.
Yeah, like me, myself, I've always been I'm pretty far south. Nate here loves Chicago. He's a city boy, but I'm more for the country, but just being in Illinois in general, which I am less than an hour outside of Chicago, but being in Illinois in general, Chicago becomes a giant part of your life, and it just is who you are. So, yeah. What about, do you do anything other than tarot, as in ritualistic type items? Or I heard that you said you were burning some incense. Do you do crystals and sage and use all that stuff for meditations?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I think you probably have a hard time finding someone who just does
the tarot.
It tends to go in sort of a cluster of other activities, be it using healing crystals, chanting, raising energy, pendulum use, other kinds of divination, or, ritualistic activities to ground yourself with nature. It all kind of tends to come together.
Yeah. So we started doing the research on everything, for occult type culture or Wiccan culture for the show, and tarot was the first thing that really stuck out to me. And I'm not I'm not that spiritual of a person or anything, but it's just something about the cards and the way that, like, from what I researched, it's not the people who are necessarily have the powers. It's the cards, and the cards channel themselves through you. So it's, you have this deck of cards that has the power, and it can help you see things from another point of view, or help you get an outlook that you wouldn't have elsewise. So, like, it's been super interesting to me to look up. Another thing I wanted to say about the cards is, like, the randomness that goes into it. Like, for a regular deck of playing cards, there's 52 cards, and, like, there's that mathematical saying or whatever that when you shuffle a deck of cards from start to finish, the combination that you came up with has never been came up with before, because there's so many possibilities. Well, tarot has 78 cards. So like, when you do that out, like, I saw it somewhere.
It's even harder for you to get the same.
It's 126 followed by 1,000 zeros is the amount of combinations there are. So it really does, like, call into fate or something, that, like, the set that you're getting is going to be different from everyone else's. And then it also, depending on what spread you're using, and if there's a reverse or anything like that. So everything is really just ends up being made for you. And I thought that was really cool.
Now, do you have a particular favorite spread that you like to do, or is it pretty much up to whoever's getting the reading?
I'll do different spreads depending on what the question is. Sometimes I'll just do, like, a 4-card reading. Like, recently someone asked, how does so-and-so feel about me? So I just drew 4 cards. If you want to look at, like, a person's past, present, and future, I would use the Celtic cross spread for that. But in general, you can even make up your own spreads and just lay the cards out. It's really about, the cards in relationship to other cards that determine the meaning. Because sounds like you've done some research into the tarot, and you'll know that cards can have multiple meanings, and what helps you choose which meaning is coming up right now is the way the card comes down in relation to other cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had kind of said on our last show, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it or not, but, like, from what I saw, overall tarot tends to lean positive, and it looks at, like, the things that could be, and doesn't really sit in regrets or anything like that. It tries to have the sunny outlook on life.
And what's your take on the Tower card?
Yeah, because what we looked at, the Tower was supposed to be, like, the worst card. Like, death isn't as bad of a card as the Tower is.
Yeah, interesting. I actually wouldn't think that the Tower would be the worst card. I know that when it's come up in my life, and then I sort of saw what happened afterwards, for me, the Tarot means, something bad in life coming to an end rather quickly, and then it being replaced by something better. Which I think, goes into what you're talking about with, the cards tend to lean positive. Even a card like the Tower, which, you were thinking was the worst card in the deck, for me, it's rather positive.
Are there any, like, single particular cards that, like, really speak to you on like an individual basis, or any ones that are your favorite?
My most favorite card would have to be the Star card.
The Star? Okay.
Yeah.
What's up with that one? So, like, on my research, I've been going through and getting overviews on a lot, but I've only dug into, like, maybe 25 cards,
Yeah, the Star card, it's about wish fulfillment. When I was younger, I saw a tarot reader, and she did a spread for me. And for my Destiny card, she pulled the Star card, and she told me, basically whatever you want in life, it's going to be able to happen for you. There's always going to be a goal that you're going to be able to achieve because that's your destiny. And it was the Star card. And, I've always just been in love with that card ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. Do we want to move into doing a reading?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've gotten enough information. Is there anything that you would like to kind of
talk about
talk about prior that we should know, or anything like that? I'm not sure. I've never done this before, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like, something that listeners might be wondering about is, so divination, the word itself implies these are messages coming from the divine. They're messages coming from God, from angels, what have you. And something that I used to question, during my skeptical phase of development into this is, okay, if these are messages from God, then why aren't they clearer?
Right.
Why don't they just and actually, I mean, hell, if these are messages from God, why even need the tarot reader? Why not just have God, appear before you and tell you, like, hey, this is what you need to do? And that's something that, during my skeptical phase that, I question, and maybe there's listeners questioning that. And what resolved it for me is I decided that although God does want to, give us messages and give us encouragement, God also wants us to have free will. And if God appeared before you and said, Jason, this is what's going to happen next, your free will would be removed. You would just do whatever that next thing is rather than have a choice in the matter. So I think that God even gives us a choice whether or not we want to believe. And that's why the messages are sometimes vague, if you will.
Well, so they give you all the tools, but you have to choose your own path, right? Like, yeah, it sets you up to do so. Yeah, I mean, like, so, yeah, I don't know if we want to. I was gonna say, getting into like the history, what I wrote down is like, no one really has a direct record of when people started doing tarot, but there's always been like whispers of it throughout. Ever since there was the first like printing applications, there's been decks of cards. The cards themselves, they pull aspects of like astrology, philosophy, alchemy. They use traditions of like Greek and Egyptian and medieval. So it kind of encompasses like all of spirituality and picks and borrows from all these different things. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe these things have picked and borrowed from the prophecy of the tarot,
And from what I've heard, there's multiple different, like there's a standard deck, obviously, but there's multiple variations of that deck depending on the illustrations or artwork that are portrayed on the cards. Is there a particular style that you like or an artist's rendition that you prefer?
The deck that I'm using right now is called the Shadowscapes Tarot, but I've had a lot of different decks over the years. I just use a deck until it eventually wears out, and then I go to the New Age bookstore and I pick out another deck that seems to call to me. But I've had the traditional AE weight deck. I've had the Dragon Tarot deck at one point. I've had the Aquarian deck, which is also like an older deck. I've basically had it now. Had it all.
Had all of them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's been a few that have been kind of like duds. They've just been too theme specific and too hard to read because of it. I remember there was a deck I bought. I think it was called like the Goddess Tarot. That was just, I couldn't read it. It was just too like themed.
Okay.
If you know what I mean? But
Definitely.
the Shadowscapes tarot I'm using right now is good. But if there's anyone who is wondering, because there's like hundreds of decks, which one should I pick? I recommend just going into the bookstore, browsing online, and seeing what one calls to you. It might be something unusual. It might be something traditional. It might be something quite modern. My sister uses the Minchiate tarot, which is a medieval Italian tarot. And it's pretty cool because it has an extra 20 cards in the deck, so it actually does give you more depth. I find it a little bit harder to read, but she really likes that one. So there's a lot of options.
I was thinking about that too, where you said that Italian deck had a couple extra cards. Like, I didn't see this anywhere, but I was thinking about it on the drive here. Like, is there anywhere one that uses like the set deck, but then has like additional like things that are just like set in there for them? Like this is my tarot deck, and there's 4 extra cards that speak to me in my style of reading. Like, it probably doesn't exist. That was a thought I had on my way here, and how that would be like kind of cool to experiment with or use. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'd be a very cool thing to do. I know there's definitely people who use multiple decks. I use, I have my standard Shadowscape tarot cards, but then I also have four. They're called oracle cards, so four different oracle decks that I'll also
oracles.
use to just kind of add additional meaning to a spread I'm doing.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, I see on Reddit all the time. People are always like designing their own cards and coming up with decks. I think that's one of the things that's currently keeping tarot a little bit popular is that people can put their own personality into their deck and make these things kind of their own. There's so many choices and there's so many deck styles you can choose from, or they just make their own. So they just go with whatever fits them best. I mean, I don't honestly. We got on this topic based off of it's always been something that we've been interested in, but we didn't see it too much in mainstream. And as I've been looking things up about it, there is a giant following behind it. There's a very active culture of people who are into tarot and everything that goes along with it. So it's all very interesting to me.
Well, you might consider picking up a deck of your own and just playing with it and see what comes up.
Yeah. I've been dabbling here and there. So
the only other real question that I had for you was, you kind of touched on that it's a family-driven thing for you, why you got into it and things like that. Now, do you do any palm readings or things like that, or?
I don't do palm reading. I do some numerology. My sister's really into astrology, so I definitely do dabble in some other systems of divination. I think probably most people that are into divination do. I've heard really good things about the I Ching, which is a Chinese form of divination. Seems a little too complicated to me in terms of just a hobby to pick up, but a lot of people swear by it and say it's very accurate. But yeah, I really like numerology as another system.
Now, did you have any questions, I guess, for us as far as what we plan to get out of this, or anything that maybe the listeners might want to know from your perspective when you're going into a reading with somebody? Do you usually have prep time? Do you like to know something about the person before you do the reading, or?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I sort of debate with myself whether it's better to know more going into a reading or less.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the way it works is, I shuffle the deck, I think about, the person I'm doing the reading for, try to sort of connect with them in some manner, and then I see, I lay out the cards and I see what comes up. And the cards will give you clues, because we know that, certain cards have certain meanings. Like, for instance, the Five of Swords, I call that the defeat card. So I know, okay, there's something going on with, someone feeling defeated or what have you. So I know that certain cards have certain meanings and they give me little clues. The rest of it is just sort of intuition. I just kind of pay attention to, what thoughts, words, maybe images come into my mind while I'm looking at the spread. What gets in the way of a good reading is if I second guess myself, overanalyze it, I doubt myself, that kind of thing. And sometimes if you get more information, it can cause that, that overanalyzing or that doubt rather than just that pure intuition.
Right.
A lot of people find it easier to read for other people than for themselves just because of that. When you read for yourself, that what you hope the cards are going to say can get in the way of what they're actually saying.
Right.
You got to come in there as a blank slate. You got to be unbiased about it.
Very cool. Yeah, that
You
was.
got to let the cards do the reading and not have you influence it.
Yeah, not have your head put the cards on the table for what you are wanting them to say. Very awesome.
Yeah. Do you want to? So you want us to set you up and then you can start doing the reading?
Yeah. So one thing I was thinking about is, sometimes the cards can tell me very specific things, not always. I was thinking to myself, oh, geez, what if I'm doing a reading for one of these guys and some highly personal stuff comes up? I don't think you would necessarily want that on your podcast.
That's why you're gonna do it on me, because he has a family and a wife and a child. I'm single, and I can't possibly go any further down.
See, but I got nothing to hide. I think I'm an open book. I don't know what account. I don't know. Did you look into my Reddit account at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think that there'd be anything about me that would come up that wouldn't already be online, you know. But yeah, let's start with Nate. And then, you know, depending on how we feel, I think we can do the reading, have a short discussion about it, and then if we want to keep going, maybe we can go do me, or maybe we can end it there.
All right. Well, I'm going to do a reading for Nate. I tend to shuffle my cards a lot more and a lot longer than most tarot readers do. It seems like they just do like a quick shuffle and then lay out the cards, and I really keep going until I feel like there's that connection.
Okay.
I will say I am going to be a little. I'm going to have some discretion, basically, just because you know it is for a podcast, and
Okay.
Your identity's out there. But I'm going to ask the spirits to tell me about Nate. Tell me what is coming into his future. What does he need to know? All right. Okay, so we have the Queen of Wands crossed by the Knight of Cups.
Okay.
So those first two cards, you know, the card crossed by the other card that's in the middle of the Celtic cross, that usually kind of gives you like a general theme
Okay.
of what's going on for this person. I have the Queen of Wands crossed by the Knight of Cups, which to me suggests that there's a hope of a new work opportunity coming in.
Okay. Yes, that's I just actually received a new job, and I moved like literally a week ago. So that may be what that's referring to.
Mhm. All right. And for where you're at right now in terms of where you're feeling, the card that came up is the Six of Cups, which is you're feeling very at home. But something that I see coming in is you're going to be presented with some options. And you're going to have to very carefully choose those options. So that's something that I see coming in for you.
Now, does that have to do with the career or with like a relationship or?
I'm going to assume it has to do with work because it seems to be a very work-centric spread right here. So I'm going to assume it has to do with work. So there's going to be some options coming in and then a quick change after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing for you, but that's what I'm seeing from the cards.
It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. They do like to switch departments quite frequently there.
In terms of some of these offers coming in, I want you to be very careful because someone's being deceptive.
Okay.
So I want you to be careful about that. I'm going to draw some oracle cards and see what comes up. Ooh, right off the bat, I drew a card that said change. So I think that what I was saying was correct because the oracle card really seemed to confirm that there's some change in the air.
Okay.
Like I said, I have 4 oracle decks, so I'm gonna be shuffling and drawing some more cards for you. And again, another oracle card saying that you need to take some time to really think over any offer coming in and make a very careful decision.
Okay. Very interesting.
So I drew an oracle card for you. It's actually from my favorite oracle deck I have. This gets kind of religious. If you know, like angels aren't really your thing, you can definitely take this with a grain of salt. But the card that came up was Archangel Michael, and it was just a confirmation that you are safe and to surrender your concerns. Because I know there's like some talk about like, ooh, you know, maybe one of these options, you know, one of these offers is deceptive. the car was saying, don't worry about it too much. Whatever it is,
Okay.
You're going to see through it. You're going to be okay.
Right. That's very interesting.
That's a good card, though.
Right.
Like that says that. I mean, the whole advice you were given is when you are presented with an option, like
To just carefully think it through.
Yeah, weigh your options before you make a decision, but you need to trust that the decision that you make is going to be correct because you have the angel Michael looking over you.
Right.
So yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
reaffirming.
It's a little comforting. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, even though, overall it does seem like the deck, tarot cards are very positive. It is possible to get negativity in it, especially when, there's talk about deception that can make people very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that perhaps the reason why the deck does lean positive is because even in situations where, the bad outcome has occurred. I remember I was doing a spread for myself, and it just kept showing, disaster over and over again, sudden quick changes, disaster. And I was just like, oh my God, I was so worried. And then it turned out, this was during the economic crisis, and there was a, sudden announcement at my job that the company was going to be closing. We were all laid off.
Oh, man.
And I thought, this is what the cards were talking about. But you know what? I did end up getting a much better job pretty much immediately. And it's like, well, thank God that happened.
Right.
That sudden disastrous change at my current job, because I'm someone who's very loyal, and I'll just stay with a job, even if it's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, even when bad things happen, there's positive things that come out of it most of the time.
Now, one question that I didn't really ask prior, but I'm kind of curious about now. Like, say you get a reading, and you have, do you have the ability to, quote, change the tarot's, fate, I guess it would say? By you doing, say you were going on path A, and it always is going to result in path B by the definition of the cards. But say you went on path C and ended up with a result D. Would that change? Would that have an effect, or would the cards always be the cards at that reading and present?
Yeah, I think that you can definitely change things. That the cards really show a reflection of what's happening right now.
Right.
Let's say that because of the reading I did for Nate, he's now really cautious at work, right? And he kind of has his eyes open, he's listening, he's paying attention. And because of that, that deception never happens, right? I think we can definitely change things. My overall, thoughts, opinion on destiny, fate, what have you, and this is just my opinion, so take it as you will. I feel like it's sort of like, do you guys remember those Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes.
So you could, in a sense, choose your own adventure, right? But there are going to be certain elements of the story that was always there.
Mm-hmm.
We could change some things, but there are some things we couldn't change in the story.
Right.
And I kind of think that's true with us. There are things that we are destined to have in our life, but then there are also things that we can change.
Interesting.
No, I from what I get from all of it is those are your tools. You go ahead and use them as you see fit, but try not to let them, derail your life.
Right.
The cards are what the cards are.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I thought that was awesome. I thought the whole thing was, I don't know, it really spoke to the situation we've been sitting in for the last. We were railroaded by the original job change for a couple weeks, and then, all that's saying is that you feel comfortable now, you feel at home, and trust that comfort. But there might be more changes coming through that you have to really
pay attention to.
Yeah, you wanna make sure that you're seeing the whole and not just having tunnel vision. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was. I couldn't have. I'm pretty much in shock due to the fact that it was so close to what is actually happening, and I could see, I didn't have to stretch. That's what I thought, that I was really gonna have to stretch to make it fit. You know what I mean? But there was minimal at most to me having to be like, well, but so that's pretty crazy to me.
like last week I drew 3 cards randomly and I gave Nate a reading, but the problem with me giving Nate a reading and preparing it ahead of time was I know who he is and I know what his situation is. So I can make things fit according to what I know. So like the reading that I gave last week at a completely amateurish level, just trying it out, getting my feet wet, was nothing compared to the one that you just gave, where someone coming from the outside with prior experience. So yeah, I think that was really beneficial.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We tried to reach out to several others, and a lot of them were skeptics, thinking that we were doing this to mock or make fun of. But really, honestly, we're just very interested, and we feel like this is a perfect platform to inform and let other people know without having to dedicate weeks or months to try and figure it out. And having professionals like yourself come on and explain it is just adding more credential to the fact that what it is and how it is actually performed.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, a lot of people, they hear about a tarot reader, they think that person's either a nutcase or a fraud. They're just cheating people. And in terms of someone being a fraud, I really don't think there's fraudulent tarot readers out there. There might be tarot readers that aren't that good, but there's just not enough money.
Right.
Like tarot readers just don't make enough money for it to be something where people are like, oh, this is like a perfect gift for me. It's just
right. And the thing that really intrigued me again was the fact that I like to believe that if and for some reason these are somewhat truthful, right, that these quote prophecies are to come to fruition, that you always will have your way or your interpretation to spin it in the way that it could be optimistic or it could be pessimistic, but you always have that option available to you depending on which cards are drawn.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
So that was I don't know about you. Do you have any questions for her?
Me? No. I just again, thank you for coming on. How much time do you have? Are we taking up a lot of your time, or do you have time to stick around? Do you want to do another reading, or?
Yeah, I mean, I could stick around. If you guys want to do another reading, we could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's up to you. I don't if I don't want to take too much out of you if you have other things going on or anything.
Yeah, I could probably do one more reading.
All right. Would you like to read me?
All right. Well, let's see what the cards have to say for Jason.
And real quick, before we get into his reading, did you want to promote anything as far as like a YouTube page or a website or a service?
Yeah, I do have an Etsy shop where I sell readings. If anyone's interested, it's Elubatela, which is spelled Elubatela, which I know probably most people had no idea how to spell that, but hopefully people got it. But yeah, that's my Etsy page. You can also see me on Reddit, on the subreddit for tarot. I do free readings there from time to time if you're curious to see a video of me doing a reading.
Awesome.
Is there anywhere specific you want the two of us to go to give you like any type of review or good word or anything? I notice like a lot of people just go by word of mouth, and
because we could definitely post on Reddit or something like that if that would help you out.
However you feel inclined. I'm grateful. When I do like the free readings on Reddit and people have comments, oh my God, you were spot on. This is the best reading I ever had. That just makes me feel really good.
Do you have?
So I always love to hear feedback like that. All right. Well, I'm going to do another Celtic cross spread.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, anything that comes up, feel free to share. We don't have to. I try to be as open as possible. So.
All right. Well, let's see. Angels, guides. What information do you want to give Jason?
I'm nervous.
Oh, the star card came up.
Ooh.
My favorite card.
That's good right off the bat, I feel.
Oh, these are some really positive cards. I am very excited for you. Oh, my goodness. Okay. We got some really good cards for you. So I'm seeing that, and, because some of this is so personal, you don't have to, elaborate on it or anything like that. But I can see that in the past there was, some real, heartbreak and disappointment. Recent past, either feeling, stressed out, burdened. And then that brings us to the future. The card that we had was the Seven of Wands, which I call the Keep Fighting, Don't Give Up card. And it's crossed by the star, which, as you know, is my favorite card. It means wish fulfillment. So whatever it is that you've been working really hard for lately and have had some disappointment with in the past, keep going because your reward is not far off. The card coming into your immediate future is the Nine of Pentacles, which is a card about being a self-made man, not relying on other people for your income. It's a very entrepreneurial card, and that's coming into your future. So good financial things coming in. We also have the Eight of Cups, which is a card about moving away from something that is no longer making you happy and moving on to something better. We also have the Nine of Cups, which is another card about wish fulfillment, basically dreams coming true, that sort of thing. So there's some really good stuff coming in the future for you.
You're going to win the lottery, Jay.
No, I'm not going to win the lottery.
That's what's going to
happen. The Mega
No.
Millions tonight?
I have responses to all of that. I don't know if you're finished.
His was is as close as mine, if not closer. That was crazy. That's crazy.
I want to tell you some things about myself really quick. I'm not going to get into any deep details or anything. So I have lived through loss twice. About 10 years ago, I lost my older brother. About 5, my father. So, through that's it's been a lot of setbacks and heartbreak. But I think a lot of what I've done over the past 5 years or so has been fueled by, spite and, I'm going to do good and carve my own path regardless of anybody else or regardless of where I have been. So now we turn to now. I have a decent job. I put myself through college, give or take, but I put myself through college. I met a wonderful woman. We got married. We have a house. We have a baby. Things are looking up. And the self-made man part really struck me because that's really what I've been working for and trying so hard for and grinding over the past several years. And the Eight of Cups, the moving away from happiness, I've been at my current job for 5 years now, and it's just been a grind. It's the worst. I'm an accountant, as it says on my page or whatever, but things at work have been at a standstill for the past 3 or 4 years. The problem is I was getting married, I was buying a house, I was having a kid, so I couldn't do anything about it. So now I've put some of my short-term goals to be, by the end of April, May, I want to find a new job. I want to move away from that. So I don't know if that's what the Eight of Cups was going to, but I can't go to work every day. I hate it. I can't stand being there, but I mean, I got that daughter to support, so that's why I get up and go in every day, and I live for the 2 hours after work where we get to hang out and stuff. So yeah, I'm waiting for those dreams to come true, but I don't know if what the cards say, but yeah, that pretty much it pierced into me a bit.
Yeah, that was good. That was pretty good. Wow.
Yeah, well, and it looks like there's definitely a lot of really good stuff coming in for your future.
We've been working towards it, so hopefully that's good. There's I mean, like, I don't even, to be honest, like, this is gonna sound cheesy as hell, but I don't need any more like reward, because I feel like we're in a good spot where we are. Like, my wife and I, there's a million things about the house and financial situations that I would love to have, but like, it's okay if I don't. Like, we have the rewards we need.
Yep.
You know, we have the life we want to have. We have the baby. So yeah, it's good to know that there's more coming, but I'm just happy to have what we have. Sorry, that was me again talking too much where I forget to breathe. So. Oh, wow. I really enjoyed that. I think I'm just going to have to call you like once every couple weeks and have you do more readings.
Well, it's been great talking to you guys, and it's always nice when, I do a spread and, there's positive things coming in for people, and people get to have that reassurance.
Definitely. And we can't thank you enough for coming on. And we will definitely, keep in contact. And I'm still in shock by both of those. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll let you know when we post this, so you can go check it out, and I'll keep your Reddit name in case you. I mean, that the Reddit account that I reached out to you on today was actually like more of my personal account. I have one for the show and one more for posting anonymously. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on you, see what we need to do if we ever want to reach back to you or anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And don't worry, I will not reveal your secret Reddit account.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was trying to look on there as you were talking today, and I don't know if there's too much that I posted on there or not. I was having trouble pulling it up on the iPad instead of my phone. But no, I think we're okay. Okay, well, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, well, have a good night and good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Look, I think this is going to be really fun. It is in the suburbs, but it's like an adult Halloween thing, so.
I actually don't celebrate Halloween. So.
Really? You have like the perfect costume. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's not a costume. I'm a witch.
I'm sorry?
I'm Wiccan.
Like you're wicking like sweat?
No, I'm Wicca.
Oh, okay. So you're a real witch.
Yep.
I literally didn't know that there were real witches.
Are you okay with that, or?
You drink blood?
No.
Drink alcohol?
Yes.
All right. Why not?
Great.
All right. We're back. How do you feel about what just happened?
Pretty mind-blowing.
Blown away, yeah. I don't know if I really expected that. Like, I expected a little bit, but especially because, like, our two situations are so different, and she was able to, like, hit on them so exact.
That's what she said.
It was insane. Like, I know I kind of said it a little bit when we were talking to her, but I reached out to like half a dozen tarot readers over the last week.
I probably reached out to at least 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, and to get into that, pull the curtain back. Like, what I did is I went on Twitter. I saw people who were doing like Periscope, like live tarot readings. I reached out to them. Yeah. I went and found people who had an Etsy shop who were charging for tarot. I reached out to them. Mm-hmm. I reached out to people who were active on Reddit, and like I sent her a message this morning because I knew I was recording tonight, and I basically, it was like one of my last shots because we were recording tonight and we needed to find somebody, right?
Right, and we're, to let it be known, we're recording on a Tuesday. We're still not completely back on track, but...
Well, I have a sick baby right now. I took a day off last Wednesday and we went to the museum. And like regular kids are gross and full of germs, and then B, babies don't have that well of an immune system. So she got a little sick, and all my wife really asked for yesterday is like, hey, can you just not leave me alone like when she's super sick? So I took a day yesterday, so that one's on me.
Does Heather even listen to our podcast?
Mm-mm. I asked her that this afternoon in the car. because I was coming here, whenever I come here, her and Bailey come and meet me for lunch at work so I can see them, because I left work at 8 o'clock this morning and I'm not going to get home till after midnight. So they come visit me on lunch night. While we were in the car, we were talking about what we were going to talk about on the show tonight. And I asked her, I was like, have you ever listened to an episode? And she's like, well, no, I guess I really probably should listen to at least one. I think I know which one to tell her to listen to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but it was my fault that we were a day off. I reached out to a million people. No one responded. And then, like, seriously, it was like at noon or so. This person responds back to me, and she says, oh, hey, it sounds like it might be an interesting opportunity. Why don't we get together later tonight and you can tell me what you're looking for? And then while I was talking to her on the way up here, she said, you know, I'm free tonight. We can just do it right now. So she literally knew nothing about us. Like, she knew my Reddit name, which is not linked to any of my personal accounts or it's not even linked to the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it was just the things that she was able to come up with on her own is just insane, right? Like, if you were to write and read a book about our lives, it wouldn't be too far off base. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, it was, I'm pretty shocked. So, do you want to kind of review the tarot readings first and then dive into the kind of the news topics and do a
what's going on for the week?
We'll do like a Seinfeld reverse show.
Yeah, let's start at the end and then work our way to the beginning.
Cool.
How about that?
So continuing on with the tarot reading, I thought she was a very nice lady. I felt like her demeanor was comforting more than it was just generic. I was a skeptic at first about what, was going to be said and how it's going to be related. How far am I going to have to stretch the truth about my life for it to fit? And like I was said earlier to her, it was minimal at most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when she, I wish you guys could have seen my face as she was reading his tarot, because I'm both hands over my mouth because it's dead on.
I was so nervous, like, over the past 6 months, over the past year, I've been trying to make steps to be a lot more open and to just, I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to let anything be me. Like, I'll be an open book. You ask me what you want. But like, even with that, I was still nervous about what she could say and what could come up, or I mean, even if it was completely off base, then that just throws off our whole show, right? Like,
right.
It just exposes it for BS. But so when she was starting to shuffle, I was like getting really nervous. And then like first card, she laid down with the star, which we had talked about being a good card. And then she says, "Okay, let's get to the situation." And she starts off and she hits the nail right on the head. She's like, "I see loss in your life. I see past loss." And okay.
Yeah.
Like, did I say anything to you throughout like this phone call that would make you feel that way? Because I don't think I did.
No.
Like, how do you pick up on that?
It's crazy.
It was insane. And then like, do you want to talk specifically? You want to go all over the place, or you want to talk specifically yours and then go to mine?
We'll just go to yours and then
let's do mine first.
Yeah.
Okay. So from the loss, she reiterated that the star, just focus on the star. It means wish fulfillment. It means positive. Like, no matter what, we're getting to where we want to be. And the next thing that she hit on was the 9 of Pentacles, which she spun to say, like, this represents that you're a self-made man, and that's where you are right now. And for me personally, how I carry myself, as far as my self-worth goes, I have really 3 pillars of things that like I feel make me, and it's moving past the loss in my past. And then it's the fact that now in my present and future, I'm trying to be more positive. And then, but like the real big thing about me is that I feel like I've built something on my own and I was able to do it and have worth. And like, nobody helped me get to where I am, and that's okay because like this is what I built. And like that's exactly what the Nine of Pentacles was, and that's exactly what she touched on. The fact that like it represents that you're self-made. And then moving a little bit further, we've talked about it on this podcast like 6 or 7 times about I'm just so annoyed with work in my job right now, and I think that happens to everyone in their 30s who works in an office, but like hey, maybe it's time to move away from things that make you unhappy because what she said during my reading was you have good things coming to you and you're about to be rewarded, and like just be ready for it.
Right.
So I don't know. I thought it was really it was shocking the things that she said. And I don't honestly, I know I just said this, but I don't think she could be pulling the wool over our eyes here because she didn't know who I was until a couple hours ago. She didn't know my name. I don't even think she knows my last name now. Ho! She knows who I am now because
everybody knows.
She knows who I am now because right before she called in, I gave her the name of the podcast so she can look us up now. But before, she had no idea of knowing.
Right.
So I don't know how it could have done it other than it's just the heart of the cards.
Yep.
Right? It's she dealt out 78. Well, she didn't deal out 78 cards. She shuffled up 78 cards, and what came out was what was you and what was me. Right?
Yep.
All right. Do you have anything specific to say about your reading?
No, I mean, other than the fact that it was pretty much dead on. I mean, I don't really want to dive too deep because it was it was very work related, and I'm not really sure.
Isn't that funny though? That like, so that is what I key into for me is the lost and the self-made, and then like. I know there's more to you than work in the move, but like that's what's been heavy for the last month, and that's what she keyed into.
Right. Yep. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. All
right. Well, do you want to kind of get into the few topics that we had lined up?
Wait.
Yep.
So, if you were to compare the very amateur reading that I gave you last week.
It's pretty spot on.
Compared to the reading that she gave you.
Hers was better.
Well, hers should be better. She, like she said, she's been doing it for 20 years, but do a super inexperienced on my end, letting the cards do the work 100%.
Right.
On her end, letting the cards channel through her to give you a more in-depth reading. Does it sway your knowledge that like maybe these cards are a little bit more than just a bunch of whack jobs dealing some cards and making stuff up about them?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely an eye opener to say the least.
She was really cool too because even though she got into all this like metaphysical type stuff and gods and angels, she was very down to earth and very relatable.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I liked her. She was very comforting. Even when she was telling me that there was going to be deception going on.
Well, that's not what she said.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I ain't got no time for deception in my life.
That's not what she said. She said that you have to make a choice coming up, or there's going to be options on the table for you, but open your eyes to them because there's people on the outside trying to deceive you.
Let's go!
Anyway, it's the heart of the cards.
Heart of the cards.
Do you know what that's from?
No.
I think it's from Yu-Gi-Oh! I've heard it in Yu-Gi-Oh! A whole bunch of times.
Gay!
But I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I tried to look it up for a drop for this episode, but I couldn't find it anywhere where they actually said it.
What, for the soundboard?
Yeah.
I love the soundboard.
Like,
it's fantastic.
believe in the heart of the card.
All right, so what's the first item that we got?
You want to go back? You want to go back to news of the week?
Yeah, we're going backwards. So we'll actually no. Oh yeah, we do the news and then we do how our weekends were. So let's hit it with the news. What do you got?
Medical marijuana, or is it just legal marijuana?
Recreational usage.
So Illinois is playing with the idea of making marijuana completely legal.
They're not playing with the idea anymore. It's a bill.
It's a bill that's currently in the Illinois House?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, because that's what I have written down right here.
Yep.
So this has been we should have like a segment where
every
we just
week
talk about weed news.
Every week.
Yeah.
Like, what would we call it? We would call it weekly weed. Weekly weed news.
See, What's the
Weed Weekly.
For some reason, like smoking heads.
We could do a Marijuana Monday.
Marijuana Monday. That's pretty good.
Yeah. We'll just take a little spot out and we'll get a drop. It'll be good.
It's impossible, like, not to bring it up though, because even over the last like 3 or 4 episodes, I've came up with marijuana.
Okay, let's
news articles and thrown them away.
Let's look back a little bit. So it was Trump removing the petition to for against marijuana on the WhiteHouse.gov site. That was 1 week. I'm pretty sure the next week, Spicer came out and was talking about how marijuana was almost the exact same thing as heroin and how they're going to be cracking down on recreational states more now. And then the next week there was, Canada now it's going to be legal in 2018, July 1st, and Illinois. I mean, there's so much news happening with it. It's crazy. Who would have ever thought that we would see this? I knew that it would eventually happen, but I thought that I was going to be way older.
You thought you were going to be in like your 50s before it came up. When I was walking out of work the other day, I got into an elevator with one of the older guys that I work with. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about living in Chicago and how we're glad we don't work in Chicago. And then he was talking about how both his kids, who are just right out of college, both work downtown, and he can't ever imagine them doing it. And it transitioned into like, oh yeah, they both want to move to Colorado. I wonder why that is.
Right.
And my response was like, well, does that even matter anymore? Like, it's going to be legal everywhere soon. And he was like, yeah, I know it is. But like, isn't that crazy that like everyone's aware of it? Everyone knows that, like, what's the point of this shit being illegal
No, the craziest
anymore?
thing is that people don't see the good in it. People still refuse to look. They look blindly at it, and they refuse to see the benefits far outweigh the consequences. Now,
I've always stood on the side of the fence that I thought that alcohol was a much more dangerous of a substance than marijuana. The way it affects you physically and mentally, and how it I think it's easier to become addicted to alcohol than it is to become addicted to marijuana.
Yeah.
I mean, addicted might not be the word, but like reliant on them.
Crutch. Yeah. So, I mean, it helps with cancer patients. It helps with arthritis.
Oh, God.
It helps with
I know there's
Crohn's
been,
disease. It helps with people that don't have an appetite anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to smoke it. Like, you can eat it. You can wear it on your lip. You can have lip balm. You can have oil drops. You can have
the oil drops are what they give for most medical patients.
If you want like a lighter dosage, you can bake it into cakes. I mean, there are endless possibilities to this. You don't have to smoke it like a joint or anything like that, and people still refuse to see the benefits of it.
There was a video I just watched, and I've seen a couple of these, of a Parkinson's patient who he can barely walk. He's shaking so hard, and they give him like a drop of oil to try for the first time, and within 2 or 3 minutes, he significantly stopped shaking and is able just to sit down and relax.
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy who cannot control his shakes.
Right.
And like, he goes steady for the first time.
Uh-huh.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yet it has this whole propaganda against it that it's like this evil drug, when there's 90,000 other types of medicines and substances that are much more dangerous.
Yeah, painkillers are the number one drug.
I don't even think you can argue anymore that marijuana is more dangerous than anything else. Like, every study they put out shows that overwhelming majority thinks that marijuana should be legal and that it is not as dangerous as it once said it was.
So there's so many more new drugs out there now too, like ecstasy, MDMA, which is Molly.
Mm-hmm.
There's, kids are taking Adderall now. It's crazy to think that like marijuana it's not even in the same ballpark.
Did you say salvia already?
Well, no, but
like, okay, so is salvia chemical or plant?
I don't know what that was, but it was.
So that was a trend for a while.
It's
then
not.
There's
a good
all these
time.
Synthetic weeds coming out.
Well, they did at one point have this stuff called Pep Spice or hemp Pep Spice or something, where it was basically like potpourri. Like you were literally, it looked like potpourri.
But like that's the thing, they can get away with making that before it gets regulated and using that to sell a high when it's just easy enough just to sell THC as a high.
I read on Reddit that there was a company that made these products called Lazy Cakes, and it was basically just brownies with like a ton of not no-dos, but like Ambien essentially. Okay. And they immediately, like, kids were like overdosing on them, and it was crazy.
Oh, but if you put 3 drops of whatever into a pop brownie,
you better not have one joint in your car.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so that kind of.
Well, the Illinois bill is. I mean, it's hopeful because not only will it make weed legal in the state of Illinois recreationally, they're gonna tax the shit out of it.
Of course they are, because we're Illinois.
Well, okay, so here's the figures here. They're going to tax at a rate of $50 per ounce wholesale.
And then the same 6.25 sales tax on retail.
So if you compare that to the Colorado, like their sales over the past couple of years, it's going to end up bringing in either between $350 to $700 million in revenue per year. Per year.
And that would obviously possibly extrapolate over time as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to solve the budget issue, but that's damn well going to help.
Yeah.
And like, not only do you have to focus on straight money coming in from sales, but like, you're also going to see a reduction from, like arrests and implementing like criminal type charges.
Now you'll actually have a reason to arrest people.
Yeah.
What else do you have on the news?
Well, and then you did mention Canada too. Canada, they announced that by July of 2018 it's going to be completely legal, which is kind of a weird wording because what's happening there is they're flipping the script on how US has it. US has it that the states make the decision, but it's illegal on the federal level. Canada's saying federally it's going to be legal, but the provinces have to make the rules surrounding it.
Right.
So that doesn't guarantee that every province is going to have legal weed, but what that does says is that federally we're not going to make any decisions. Like that's up to you guys, which it overall means that it's going to be legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wraps up weed for now.
Marijuana Monday.
Marijuana Monday.
What's today? So it would be like
Tokum Tuesday.
Token Tuesday.
Ho! Was there anything from this week that you wanted to talk about? Do you want me to just start listing things and you can riff off of them?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I have hashtag Brad's wife.
Yeah, save Brad's wife or give Brad's wife her job back. And this is so funny because we talked on the earlier show about Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, we didn't.
So what do you... Okay.
What, did we?
No, that was on the one that we scrapped.
No, it might not have, because we went out for breakfast for my birthday. No, so that was on the episode that didn't actually make it.
Yeah, so we recorded about a 10-minute opener to an episode, and that was last week. So if you notice, we're a week off.
Yeah, well, what happened there was we were setting up for the tarot reading, but we still had some work to do on the prior 2 episodes. So half the day went for setting up the tarot reading episode. The other half went to editing and finishing up episodes 106 and 107. So we just scrapped last week's and started fresh this week because most of the things we talked about are pretty much expired by the time we get to it.
Yeah.
But so on episode 107, I pretty much said that we were going out for my birthday. Where I chose to go out was Cracker Barrel.
Yes.
So it's crazy that we always have these news topics that relate back to something that we're doing.
Yeah.
So I went to Cracker Barrel just out of nowhere because I like Cracker Barrel and I haven't gone in a long time. Nate hates Cracker Barrel, but whatever.
Because it sucks.
I don't know where else you can get like biscuits and gravy with every single meal.
That don't impress me much.
Got to be quicker on the draw.
I know.
So I just really like it. I like to get the grits and just have them there and not really do anything with them. They give you an orange wedge. It's a good time at the Cracker Barrel. But so I guess this lady who's married to Brad.
Okay, yeah, so this lady worked at Cracker Barrel for some odd years.
11 years.
And
she got fired.
She got fired.
But they didn't really say why she got fired.
Yeah, there was really no good understanding.
They said that she wasn't working out.
And then
but she worked there for 11 years.
And then obviously, because the internet is awesome in an amazing place, they just ruined Cracker Barrel. And
well, what happened was it was Brad's birthday. And he went onto the Cracker Barrel Facebook page and he said, "I can't believe you fired my wife on my birthday. Thanks for ruining my day," or something like that.
Yes.
And the internet rallied behind him.
Yep, with hashtag save Brad's wife, give Brad's wife her job back, hashtag Brad's wife.
And that's all Cracker Barrel got for several days.
Some amazing person went on Cracker Barrel's Wikipedia page, and if you look on the right-hand side, it gives you all the statistics for Cracker Barrel, and at the very bottom, it says the total amount of employees, and it's like 70,000 or something, but somebody edited it because you can edit pages on Wikipedia for a short period before it gets reverted back, and somebody put 70,000 minus Brad's wife, hashtag save Brad's wife, or give Brad's wife his job back. It was so funny.
I just looked it up. It's like it is top news. 1 day ago, save Brad's wife.
Yep.
Internet went bonkers about Cracker Barrel firing Brad's wife, spiking social engagement by 226%.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I wonder if they're gonna like put out a statement.
It's pretty impressive.
Sweet maple bacon? More like sweet mother of mercy. Why did you fire Brad's wife? 11 years her smile lit up all of Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. It was a big enough story to where I had to write it down. I'm like, this is crazy.
And then for no particular reason, Cracker Barrel fired Brad's wife. That was my Forrest Gump impression.
That was terrible.
I know.
That was awful.
You know what you did mention there that I want to kind of talk about? Wikipedia and how you can change Wikipedia if you want to change Wikipedia. That is a myth. Because Wikipedia is ran by, like, moderator Nazis. Like, there are people whose sole life is to track down every single little fact on Wikipedia and monitor the changes and make sure that things are accurate.
But you can... No, the myth is you can still edit it.
But not for more than, like, a minute.
Right.
Because it's caught right away.
Right.
No, the Wikipedia moderators are probably the most strictest moderators on all of the internet.
I don't know. Have you been to Pokemon Go subreddit?
I have not.
They're pretty Nazi.
I think, well, what I was going to say is I think Wikipedia is probably a more accurate source than any dictionary or scholarly novel, because like people are looking at it all the time and saying, this isn't right, we got to change this. They have huge pages of moderator logs discussing wordings of particular paragraphs.
Right.
They're insane.
Yeah.
I was looking up Pokemon today, by the way, going back to Pokemon Go, about the question was, how has Pokemon lasted for the last 20 years and stayed like so popular when so many other things have came and fallen out of favor?
What was the top comment?
So
something awesome.
A little bit. The answer is basically that Pokemon was socially like Pokemon at its core was engineered to be that way. So Pokemon came not in the wake, but after the rise of Star Wars and then the success of He-Man. So how Star Wars launched was these movies came out, but right on the backside of the movies was a whole line of toys and lunchboxes and this and that. So how Star Wars got you with the branding was it was inside your home constantly and you're constantly looking at it. And then following that, He-Man had some limited success by launching a toy and writing a story to go along with it. So I know you were saying 70s, 80s, and the 90s, but by the time Pokemon came out, they came out in 3 waves. They had the card game, the video game, and the anime that were all released pretty much around the same time. And these were all characters that were specifically put together to have you like remember their name and learn cool things about them and want to have them.
Yeah, they just say their name.
Yeah, but like the word
except for Meowth.
The word Pikachu translates and is catchy in Japanese as well as being catchy in English instead of just being something random.
Yeah, but they just really just say
The
their
cute
name.
little electric monster is like something that kids can find cool no matter who they are. A big fiery dragon, is that a big fiery dragon who can't be controlled because he's too powerful. Like that's something that any kid's going to like.
Donald Trump.
Well, I don't know how that fits. but Pokemon, as you grew, it grew with you. So you started with the Game Boy and having to collect all these monsters and then being able to like connect with other players with the cord and battle them. But then as you grew up, the technology became more advanced and now you could use your Pokemon by the time Game Boy Advanced it came out to battle people wirelessly.
Yeah.
And then you could battle over the internet. And then they expanded the amount of Pokemon that there were. And then do you think Nintendo launched Pokemon Go, or was that like a completely separate plan?
It's a different company. But
Well, I know it's a different company that did it,
owns the
but do you
rights.
think it was Nintendo who came out and said like, hey, we have this idea for a game? Or do you think it was them that said, hey, we have this game, do you want to brand it? You think it was the second one? See, I don't. I think it was Nintendo who said like, hey, I've seen you've done this with this other game. Can you do this with Pokemon?
It would have been much better.
Yeah. They're the worst.
And there would have been a lot more ways for you to sink money into it if Nintendo did it.
I don't think so.
I do.
When is Nintendo looking for money ever?
Always.
No.
When are they not?
They're Xbox
creating
and PlayStation are looking for money,
they're
but
creating,
not like
they're
not
creating,
like micropayments.
They're
and
creating
stuff like that.
supply and demand right as we speak.
Yes, supply and demand for something like physical. Like I've never known Nintendo to ever have in-game purchases like at all.
But they do now.
In what?
Zelda.
Okay, I'm gonna trust you because I don't have that.
Yeah.
How's the Switch going?
Amazing.
Have you gotten any further in Zelda at all?
Not too much because if you guys can listen closely, you can hear the wonderful, glorious music of MLB The Show. I just got that, and I've been playing that pretty crazy.
I think it timed out.
But yeah, I've been playing that for a while. It's been pretty good.
I know a lot of people who are into those show games.
Yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
Well, like, because like what you were doing is you had a player and you were tracking the player's progress from like the college level up.
Yep.
And then like what they do is they say like, oh yeah, we play like whole seasons and draft players and trade players
that's
set
this
them up
weekend.
to go.
Yeah, we're doing a fantasy draft or a franchise fantasy draft.
And then you have to play and then wait for your friends to play their games to advance the season.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Should get the show.
I don't have an. What are you playing on?
PlayStation 4.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll borrow it. We'll just switch off our discs. I don't think that would ever work. Back to topic. You were complaining an awful lot about The Walking Dead and Carl Khan.
Oh yeah, what the crap, man. So I see a ton of my friends, and I'm sorry if you listen to this podcast, but you guys are ridiculous to pay $100 to meet Carl. Now,
who would pay $100 to meet anybody?
That seems absolutely ridiculous. So, $25K, $30 even, I'll think about it. $40, I better get a picture. But $100, like, you better be like making me breakfast, and it better be awesome.
Wait, how much did you say before 100? You said 40. You would be okay with?
Yeah.
Who would you? I would not pay $40 to beat anybody. I don't care.
Okay, so and people are probably gonna give me shit for this, but
would you pay $100 to meet Taylor Swift?
I paid. Do I even want to say?
But okay,
so I paid from the range because I don't want to say. I paid from the range of $1,000 to $2,000 for a Drake meet and greet ticket. Okay.
See, I was almost going to offend you, or I was almost going to defend you until you said the range. Because I was going to say, like, yeah, buy a ticket for VIP. Like, at least you're getting the concert experience. At least you're getting a whole event. At least you're getting, like, a T-shirt and a lanyard. But $2K to meet Drake?
No, I didn't say $2K. I said a range of $1,000 to $2,000.
Oh, okay. I'll rephrase. Over $1,000 to meet Drake. How much are concert tickets for Drake?
It was probably
Like how much are the pit?
Like probably okay. So I seen Drake front row, and those were like 200.
Okay, so let's just base it off of that. $200. So you're
Right.
paying an extra $800 minimum to meet the guy.
But this is
from
my
Degrassi.
right. But okay, so Drake is like my favorite. But this was the this is the main reason why I bought the ticket, because I figured I buy the ticket, it not only guarantees me front row seating, but that ticket that I got was front row, like middle section, middle of the section. So I was like front row, dead center stage. On top of that, you got, those stupid prize packages with like T-shirts and all that stuff. And then you get to meet Drake. But my whole thing was I was going to sell the ticket for triple, quadruple the value, because they sell for that. People spend that kind of money on it. And it ended up canceling. He ended up canceling the meet and greet. So I got the whole refund of the ticket back. So that happened. But for Taylor Swift, I seen her front row, and I paid $1,200 for 2 tickets.
So $600 each.
Yeah.
I don't see that, because I was gonna figure you would say like a front row at a big concert like that would at least be $350 is what I would imagine.
Yeah.
So tacking on in another additional charge to get like a little bit of a private show beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're already, like we said with the moving expenses, like if you're already in it for this, why not be in it for that as well?
Yeah, because me and Justina went to see Dashboard Confessional, and those tickets were like $150, but we got a meet and greet before the show, and then Chris Carrabba played an acoustic set for the VIP ticket holders before the show.
So that was a whole nother show.
Yeah, it was basically like 5-6 songs on him just playing his acoustic, and then we got to meet him. But like the ticket prices normally were $30, so essentially it was $120 more to see.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine. I guess I'm not that into celebrities, and I don't really have any idols, so I just can't imagine like paying to meet anybody, especially because like when I have met different like lead singers from bands or celebrities, never know what to say to them. And, like, I feel ingenuine just being, like, trying to come up with a question that no one else has asked them.
Right.
I don't just want to say, like, oh, hey, I'm your biggest fan, because so is everyone else.
When we got front row to Evening with Kevin Smith, did anybody from our group ask him a question?
When I went with, when we were in high school, I went with Eric Reardon. Were you there for that?
Not that one.
So he asked a question, and his question was... and I've seen it a million times after that, but his question was, hi, me and my friends are making a movie. I wrote a script. Would you read our script? And Kevin said, absolutely not. What is your budget for your movie? And because we were teens and just using the shit we had, it was, $0. And it was just like, okay, like, whatever. You're just kids making a movie. And he did it in a cool way. He's not an asshole.
Right.
I didn't ask him anything other than that.
Yeah, I don't remember, but that was a pretty good show.
When we went in Chicago, we were like first in line.
Yeah.
I don't even think we talked to him. We just, because like we sat down in the best seats in the place, and then they came out and did their show, and I don't remember how it ended. I don't know if we left before he was done, or, I mean, saying we left before he was done sounds shitty, but the dude literally gets on stage with a microphone and asks questions or answers questions until everyone's done.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
Right.
Open-ended.
Yep.
So I don't remember how that ended, if we waited till the end or if we just left.
What else?
Dave Chappelle's Netflix special.
Oh yeah, so funny. I can't really say too much about it without like saying the jokes, but you should really check it out. There's 2 episodes on Netflix. Dave Chappelle, pretty funny.
Well, after he released them, he's been hot like recently. I saw that he got like booed off stage in Detroit though.
Yeah, that's really that was one of the jokes that he opened up with. And
he talks about it on the special.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't get that, because they put it out like it was news this week, but if it's on his special, like it's not news. He's already addressing it.
Unless he got booed off again because
No.
of the jokes that he made on the Netflix special.
No, basically what I saw about it was he said that and you kind of told me a different story. You said that he was too high. So I guess like everyone thought he was kind of slurring his speech and a little drunk. And he's admitted that like he sounded like that before, but he wasn't drunk.
Right.
He was really high.
Yeah, he said, yeah, I was really high. He's like, I met some rappers, and I don't know if you know this about rappers, but they've got really strong weed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I've never been that point to where I took 2 puffs and looked at the guy and been like, I'm about to bomb. So it was pretty funny.
What people said at the show was like he went out there and he did an hour of polished comedy that like would have been included on his special, and it was bomb. Like it was awesome. It was, if he ended the show there, it would have been good. But then he went on for an additional 2 hours with a notepad, trying out new jokes and riffing with the crowd in this big auditorium, and that's where he started to get the boos. And like he did say, like I was just really stoned and I was just trying to work out some routines.
Right.
So I think that's probably what happened. He was just trying to work out new jokes, and like that's okay when you do it like at a small comedy venue in New York or Chicago or LA, but he was in like a big show in Detroit that people paid money to see.
Right. Yeah, whatever. Dave Chappelle's the man. Long live Chappelle. That was my mic drop.
I got a good mic drop on the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh, get over it.
I had on the Serial podcast, we had everybody debating me, everyone against me, whole world is not on my side, and I put out my statement and everyone just shuts up.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That don't impress me much.
Okay. So it's for sports news.
Raiders go to Las Vegas.
The Raiders are moving to Las
The
Vegas.
Raiders. They're going to Las Vegas.
Was that something that was predicted
Slightly. I talked about that on a podcast.
in basketball?
No.
What did you talk about
Oakland,
on the podcast?
Oakland moved to LA and then back to Oakland. Nobody seemed to notice or care.
Okay.
And that's true.
Does that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Jazz.
I remember this conversation.
The Jazz moved from New Orleans to Utah, where they don't allow music. The Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles, where there are no lakes.
What does the Raiders move to Las Vegas mean? Anything in general?
Probably a lot more arrests, DUIs.
By the Raiders team?
All parties involved. Teams got to come to Las Vegas to play.
More fans.
No, teams got to come to Las Vegas to play now. So
yeah, but it's not like they're going and hanging out on the Strip, aren't they? Well,
where are you gonna put a football field in Las Vegas? Like outside the Strip?
I guess that makes sense. I just don't see like
where are they gonna stay? Are they gonna go to a hotel where they could stay in Las Vegas?
I just don't see an athlete like.
It's Las Vegas.
But their job is to play a football game.
I get that.
They're going to practice, they're going to play, and then they want to go home.
They're going to practice, they're going to play, and then after that, all bets are off. Party.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, if there's a huge spike in 2 years, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah. I feel like we're running out. What else we got? There should be only a few things left, right?
This is very old news by this point, but Shia LaBeouf has been playing Capture the Flag.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
Except he isn't really playing,
and he lost.
Yeah. So when Trump got elected president, Shia erected this flag in the center of New York on a webcam, and it says "He will not divide us" on it. And he invited people to come out and protest Trump's presidency and get on the webcam, and immediately like trolls and shitty people came out, and Shia I think punched somebody in the face and he was kicked out of his spot. So he moved it to another location. Same deal. Everything happened exactly the same again. So because he was sick and tired of it, he drove out to a remote location, posted the flag up, put a webcam on it, was not on camera. It was just it was literally only the flag
in the sky.
With the sky as the background.
You couldn't see anything else but just the flagpole in the sky.
So 4chan are internet detectives with nothing better to do.
This is the most amazing story I've ever heard.
And with 18 hours, they figured out where the flag was located and they stole it.
Based on what? Tell them how they found it.
So,
this is amazing.
They kind of cheated a little bit because they knew remotely where the location could be because Shia... No, it wasn't even on Shia's Twitter. A girl who worked at a diner ran into Shia and posted a picture on Twitter of them together. Like
in Nashville, right?
In Nashville.
Yes.
So they started looking that way. Then in the sky, they saw like a seagulls. So they knew it had to be near the coast. So then knowing that they're on that coast, like by that water, they watched wind patterns to track which way the flag was flying. They used that along with planes that were crossing overhead, and they tried to match up planes on current flight maps.
Tell them how when they got close.
And so that's how they triangulated it to a couple miles.
Right.
And then they had a guy drive around in a pickup truck and honk their horn until they could hear the horn on the web camera. And they went out at night and they stole the flag within 18 hours of him posting it.
Amazing. The internet is amazing, and the internet wins every day.
That's not where the story ends, though. It goes on. So Shia put up another flag behind... not behind bars. I was going to say behind bars. On the rooftop of some company.
Yep.
And he announced where it was, but it's on the top of like a 10-story building where it's private property, no access. Guess what?
It's already been stolen.
It's been stolen.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Sorry, Shia. It sounds like if there was like a little bit of money involved, like here's my flag, come find it and win $100. Like that would be a fun game to set up.
You know what's intriguing? Have you ever heard the myth of the Wu-Tang Clan album?
No.
So Wu-Tang Clan has an unreleased album where there's one copy in the entire world. One copy of this album.
Well, okay.
And it sold for I think $3 million to that Sharif, that pharmaceutical asshole.
Oh yeah,
and
Martin Scarelli.
Yes, Scarelli. So there's when purchasing it, he had to sign a contract, and in that contract there's a clause: purchaser is at risk because at any point in time, any member of the Wu-Tang Clan, also Bill Murray, can attempt to steal back the album. If they successfully steal the album is no longer in your possession anymore.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. That is...
Like Bill Murray. Like, isn't that hilarious?
Well, of course, Bill Murray. That's just really crazy that like they could get away with putting that in there.
Yeah.
What's on it? Like, is it unreleased tracks?
Yeah, it's like 23 unreleased tracks, yeah.
And so... theoretically, they're the only people who have ever heard them?
Theoretically, yeah.
Because I'm sure if he signed a contract to buy it, the contract said he's not allowed to post it.
To share it.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you share it to social media, I mean, somebody's going to know.
Well, if you share it in general, you're the person who has hands on it, so they'll know where it came from.
Right.
You know, Ozzy, there was a video online this week with Ozzy Osbourne finding I don't know if it's an old video or not, but finding the original like master mix of Crazy Train and listening to it with the original guitarist. It was weird because like he says like, oh my god, I haven't heard this in like 30 years. And like it sounds different than the studio album because it hasn't been mixed yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice to see. That's another one of those like things that have only happened in one place.
Right. It reminds me of those pictures like on movie sets of its characters just doing human things. Like there's a picture of like Tim Curry as Pennywise, and he's just like smoking a cigarette under an umbrella because it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a good...
I know what you're talking about. The only one I can think of is there's one of Boris Karloff.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, Frankenstein.
All right, so I think we can wrap up. We had a pretty decent show.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, we probably peaked early, but I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
I think we really needed to, after having a serial week, a normal week, a week off, and now like having the first half be a guest, I think we really did need to sit down and actually talk about stuff for a little while.
Yeah.
To keep in practice. You
Yep.
know?
So yeah, I think it's been a pretty good show. Nice halfway point into our bandwagon of tarot and the unknown, if you will.
Occult type practices. Do you have any idea of what we want to touch on in the next 2 weeks? Or?
Hopefully, I'm thinking next week we can do like a chill week, kind of recap and kind of zoom in on what the last week we want to focus in on.
Just let the spirits guide us.
Yeah, hopefully we could do palm reading or something like that. I think those would be fun. But yeah, so again, we want to thank Elubatela for joining us. She's been fantastic.
She's been awesome.
You can find her on Etsy, she said.
Yeah, if you just look up her username, she has a YouTube page. She has a Reddit account, and she has an Etsy store. If you want to buy a reading from her, we'll post her name in the show notes somewhere, or just send us a PM on Twitter, and I'll give you a link to her.
So yeah, thank you again for her. For Jay, I'm Nate. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good week.